Outside the Box Reviews, we are taking a look at the Minimates Aliens figures. And unlike usual where I have an individual release or package or something, this is more than even just a wave of action figures. This is a combination of 3 individually released figures, plus what I would consider Wave 1 proper, plus what I'm gonna call Wave 1.5. I'll get into that a little more as I go through the figures and review them, but just to give you a rundown of all the characters we have so far, we have the Marine Wierzbowski, we have Ripley, we have Hicks, we have Burke, we have Spunkmeyer, Dietrich, Random Colonist, Drake, Vasquez, Apone, Hudson, and then a few extra aliens thrown into the mix. And while this is a lot of figures, a lot more than I will usually do in one sitting, there's a lot of shared parts, and they are Minimates, so they're a little more simplistic anyway, so it's not quite as daunting as it kind of seems looking at this massive action figures. So let's not waste any time and jump right in. So the first release for these Alien Minimates was these 3 guys, amongst some other alien figures. What Diamond put out was basically a large box, basically to sit on the countertop at a comic book shop, and it would have individual boxes, each containing 1 Minimate. They had these 3 humans in the box, and then they had a bunch of aliens to let you army build as many Xenomorphs as you wanted. My local comic shops never got these figures in, so my only hope to get them was to pay inflated prices on eBay after the fact, so I decided to just settle for the 3 humans and ignore the Xenomorph variants. So I'm not going to be touching on those specific Xenomorphs, so I think they've gotten reshuffled around to these other packs, so we'll basically look at the other options for a Xenomorph in those figures. Each of the figures comes with a standard Minimate stand. It's a clear little piece of plastic with a single peg, pegs into their foot. They stand on it pretty well. The only complaint with this stand is just the fact that the way Minimates are shaped, unless you have them perfectly standing upright, they do look a little goofy on it. Their other foot won't really touch the ground, but whatever, it's not that big of a deal. So we'll start off by looking at Spunkmeyer here. For an accessory, he comes with a very, very tiny pistol, which is really nicely detailed for being so very tiny. I'm sure this has probably been released with other Minimates in the past, but it works perfectly with him, a simple little weapon. He flies the dropship, or he's co-pilot on the dropship, so doesn't really need a big gun. And speaking of which, he does have his helmet, which is nicely detailed, a good olive green, all the little panels going throughout it, which look really, really nice. And it is a removable piece, and because he has very, very short hair, we don't have to have a separate hair piece. It's just painted right onto his cylindrical head there. Decent detailing on the face, eyebrows, mouth, stubble. Doesn't look a ton like the actor, but for being a big cylinder, it works pretty well. Coming down, painted on his blocky standard Minimate body, we do have his jumpsuit, which looks really nice because the American flag patch on his shoulder there. Got another patch here on the opposite shoulder. He's got his fingerless gloves. Pants have some nice details. We see the fly in there and some wrinkles and some pockets. See his boots laced up here on the front. Really no detail here on the back. We have some copyright info, but no actual painted detail, which is a little disappointing. I wish it would have done a bit more with him, but from the front, he looks really, really good. Next up, we have Burke, and I don't feel like this looks a whole lot like Burke either, but they did a decent job of capturing Paul Reiser here. But the face is decently painted. He doesn't look nearly as hard chiseled as any of the Marines, which is fitting for the character. We have his hair on here, which is really curly and fits the character, I guess, decently. He's got his vest on here as a separate rubberized piece that you could remove if you want to. His plaid shirt underneath, so you can take that vest off and just have him in normal plaid mode, I guess, but I think he always has that vest on. I do like what they did with the arms here. They gave him the rolled up sleeves, the nice little effect, and actually a 3D piece. So we have the bare arms going down. He does have a watch on his other arm, which is really cool. His plaid shirt does have detailing on the back, which is nice, and some wrinkles sculpted into the vest. Copyright info on the back of his legs, and really not much more on the front. There's just blue straight up pants and then black shoes, but decently detailed for the character that he is. And next up we have Wierzbowski, and this is the first of the Marines we're getting in this series. So I'm going to touch more on his armor than any of the rest because they mostly all share the exact same armor and weapons. He's a really, really nicely done pulse rifle, really well detailed. We have the black front to it, all the little panel lines, the brown handle there. Just for being such a tiny piece, magnificently detailed. It's even open here at the top, matching the on-screen appearance of it. Really, really impressive little gun here. See on his head, he has the standard issue helmet. There's a little microphone coming up by his mouth, a big earpiece there. You can see his hair coming out the back behind the helmet there. All the little lines, the flap here on the back guard in the back of his neck, the little strap going around the helmet itself. Got some camo pattern up here on the top. Camera over here and the little eyepiece. See the part of the strap coming down there. Really, really nicely detailed for such a little helmet. And that is removable. And then because this character isn't bald, we do get a hair piece that could be attached. So that's a pretty nice little piece there. I gotta admit, I'm not really too familiar with this character because he's really never on screen as the focus too often. But a very just straight up haircut. He has ears on there on the sides as well. Face has a lot of personality to it. Definitely a unique looking face. You get the feeling by the way they did the paint on the face, he's kind of a bigger guy. The armor is standard for all the Marines. We got the big shoulder pads here. This is a separate piece that slides over the normal Minimate body, which is pretty standard for any of these figures. Got the little sheath for the knives, I think, all the little buckles on it, which are really nicely detailed in here. They're not painted as much on the back, but on the front they're painted on there. Got the crotch guard there and the belt. Coming around to the back, we do have the little lantern here on the back, which is actually a removable piece, which is kind of cool. So if you didn't want this on there, could pop it off. Except for the fact that it's stuck on this figure. It comes off on the other ones. They the little canteens coming off the back, well painted all over. And then each of the Marines has personalized armor, so you get their name right there on the front, which is great because that means I don't have to look up which character's which when I'm doing this review. Then we can pop the head off and remove the armor. And then in a touch that I love with Minimates, we get the more casual version of Wierzbowski. We have him in just a straight up camo. You can see the green undershirt under even the camo jacket, all the pockets and buttons painted on. Really, really cool looking. We got an extra pocket here on the pants. We can see they painted the arms, so it looks like he's wearing short sleeves. But if you flip around to the back, once again, no detailing, just that tan color there. So I really wish they would have painted the back on these. It would have really helped the figures. And then coming down here, we have the camo boots. Unfortunately, these aren't really removable. You could put, I guess, normal shoes from other Minimates on these figures, but as the Marines are, they don't come with casual shoes, which I don't really need, but it would have been kind of cool for this downplayed look. But you see the buckles on here, more camo, and it's all one piece built into the boot bottom itself. I'm going to put the armor back on to show off the articulation. The head is on a ball joint, but with the armor on, or even with Burke with his vest, you get a very limited up and down range, but you can move side to side with it, which is nice. Ball joint to the shoulders, they'll go out pretty far. They really wouldn't go out much more than this armor allows, so you're not being too hindered, but you are hindered going forward and backwards by the armor itself. A nice hinge at the elbow there. We can swivel at the wrist. There is a swivel at the waist, but with the armor once again hindered, the characters without the armor aren't going to have that problem. Same with moving the legs. You can get a decent range forward and back with that ball joint there, but still a little hindered. You can also go in and out to the side. A nice joint there at the knee as a hinge, and then no ankle articulation on the Marines with these boots, but the other characters without boots can actually swivel their feet. The next Aliens Minimates we got were the 4 2-packs that were released to specialty stores, comic shops, and this is more what we're used to, these standard Minimate releases, 2 to a pack, a bunch of accessories, all that good stuff. So we get a pack that's Apone and an alien warrior. Apone showing the same armor that we saw with Wierzbowski, but he's a little different. We take the helmet off. He's another character whose hair is short enough that he doesn't really need a separate hairpiece. But he does come with a hat, which is really nice. We could add that on there. It's got the little ship's logo up there at the top. Nice blue hat. See a lot of nice sculpting going on here. I'm sure they've used this for other characters as well. Looks kind of funny on a big cylinder head of his. They did a great job on the character's face. It really looks like the character. Do wish they would have found some way to give him a stogie, just because I remember him always smoking a cigar in the film. We pop the standard armor off of him. Same detail underneath, but we see he has long sleeves and a little different patch there on his shoulder than we got on Wierzbowski. Same here, I think that's showing his rank. And he actually does have paint detailing on the back of his shirt, so he gets a little different treatment than the normal Marine. He also does come with standard issue pulse rifle. And packed in with him, we get this Xenomorph. It's a clean Xenomorph with an open mouth. A lot of nice detail here at the head. Same kind of stuff we got with the single alien one from the original Alien film in Minimate form. I like they gave him the teeth and the open jaws there. It looks really cool. Big extra endoskeleton-y piece up here over the shoulders, which has the tubes as well as the tail that's connected here at the back. They did give us the same hands we got on the Alien version, so it's the same weird finger combination with a little blade coming off. They painted all the biomechanical detail onto the body itself of the Minimate, which looks really, really nice. Then we come down here, we have the weird back bent feet with the silver toes on it, which are really cool looking as well. For articulation on this alien, we do get a ball joint at the base of the neck, so you get a really good range of motion there. Ball joint at the shoulder, so you can go up and down, forward and back. back, hinge at the elbow. We can rotate at the wrist, which will move that blade around with it. Rotate at the waist. Legs will go forward and back, out to the side. Good little bend there at the knee. Can actually swivel at the foot, but it's going to get a little awkward once you do because of the way it's shaped. And then here at the tail where it connects to the body, we can rotate it there, as well as a joint a little lower down. Next up, we get Dietrich, one of the few female Marines, once again wearing the standard armor that we saw before. Nothing really too fancy here on her, but we can of course pull that helmet off, and we can give her hair. She has some bright red hair here, which looks really good. Did a good job on the face as well. We do once again have the short sleeves painted on. And I should point out that her helmet does have the red hair painted onto it, where it was black on Wierzbowski's helmet. And she also comes with her pulse rifle. And then she's packaged with an infected colonist, which just looks a mess. Face there is all messed up and gnarly looking. The eyes are bloodshot. The hair is all messy, which looks great. We have this effect piece that goes around the chest, just like we got with the cane from the Alien pack. So we have the blood splatter with the chest burster coming out here. We can of course pop the head off, slide that off the neck, pop the head back on, so we have the shirt before the Xenomorph popped out. Lots of gunk all over it, which is very, very nasty. Belt painted on there. Nasty pants, nasty hands. Very nasty looking character. Normal shoes down there, and nothing really going on in the back. Next up, we have Drake, and you can see right away he's sporting different gear than the other Marines. We have unique, it's not even a helmet, it's a hat. It's his hat turned backwards. We got his blonde hair sticking out the back. We have the targeting rig going down over his eye here, which is really cool. The microphone coming down the other side. That piece is removable. You could even take the little targeting piece and rotate it out of the way as well, so if you didn't want it in his eye, you can get it out of the way there. Then we could pop on just his hat by itself without all the gear on it. Did a really good job with the head painting here as well. Really captures the character. I like the detail they gave him. Coming down the figure here, we have unique armor. It's got the heavy chest plate here, smaller shoulders on it. We still have the same little lamp back here, which mine's all out of the way because of the hat now. We can see the straps crossing on the back. And we do have a couple little holes in the armor here. That's because Drake comes with the smart gun here, which is beautifully detailed. I love all the little detail they sculpted in here. Not a lot of paint, but it's still really cool looking. Very nicely detailed all over. We even have the little like brake handle back here in the back. The other handle down here. And you can see there's a big hole here in the center because it also comes with a mounting arm with 2 ball pegs on it. So easiest way to do it, take this long end that's sticking straight out, and that will peg into the gun itself. So you do still get a ball joint of motion there at the gun. And then depending on how you want Drake holding it, you either go this hole on his left side or the one on the back. So if you peg it on his side, you could have him kind of going front mounted with the gun. If you attach it to the back, you have him walking sideways with it. Now I gotta admit, this is a pain. It pops out of the armor. It's very hard to get in his hands, but once you get it, it is a really cool accessory. See, Drake is sleeveless here with his biker gloves on, the standard kind of pants here, but he does have painted on boots instead of the big sculpted ones. And without the armor on, he looks pretty simple. He does have camo on his back of his shirt, but nothing on the back of his pants, but very basic figure without the armor. The alien he comes with, very similar to one we saw before, but this one's covered in Xenomorph blood. It's got splatter all over him, and the hoses here at the back have actually been cut short, which I think is a really nice touch, but he is just splattered in blood, covered in it completely. And then we also have his inner jaw sticking out, which is a nice added bit to this as well. And in the last set from Wave 1, we get Hicks, which once again we have the standard helmet on there. His armor has a little extra detail. Of course, we have his name, then we have the heart painted on the front, and well, we can't see the back because of his added accessory of the shotgun holster, so it loops over his shoulder there. And we have it here in the back. Pull that out. We have a very, very nicely detailed shotgun, which is very, very cool. Of course, I have his lamp back here. He has short sleeves on. Back to the big bulky boots. He has no gloves or anything on either. But there are a couple other display options for Hicks. We get a standard pulse rifle with him. We also get the pulse rifle strapped to the flamethrower. And most of the point, we never got an individual flamethrower. Hopefully later on in the line, maybe we'll get 1 or 2 of them, because I think they're kind of missed here. But this looks great with the tape all around it, making it look like it's that haphazardly designed weapon. I really love this weapon in the movie. Then with Hicks, we could pop his helmet off, and we could put his hair on there. So now he looks just like Michael Biehn with a cylindrical head. Or we could pop this head off altogether, and swap it out for the battle damaged version, which is really cool looking. They had the bandage on there. I think it's almost the same facial expression, just looking neutrally kind of pissed off. You use the hair or the helmet with it. My hair is completely crooked on there. But I like that they gave us two separate heads here with Hicks. Nice touch. And then saving the best for last, we have Ripley. She also has her own pulse rifle flamethrower combo here. We have her hair. I believe it's the same hair we got in the Minimate from the original movie. They did a good job detailing her eyes and some cuts on her face there. I love the sweat stains painted onto her shirt. She has this extra little harness here, but this is a removable piece, so if you didn't want it, you can get rid of that. No real paint going on in the back here on her shirt or her pants. We have some wrinkles on her sleeves here. We have her watch, some little pockets and stuff going on in her pants, as well as her high top sneakers, which look really nice. It's a simple thing for Ripley, but it works really well. There is another accessory that comes in the pack with Ripley and Hicks, and I'm going to choose to stick it on Ripley here because we also get a face hugger. Same kind of face hugger we got with the Alien set as well that you can stick on Kane, though I'm having a hard time getting her hair on here. I'm sure I can if I mess with it enough, but very simple little face hugger design, single color, just wraps around the Minimate's neck there and goes over the face. And yeah, I'm a horrible bastard for putting it on Ripley, but we all know what happens in Alien 3, right? And then we have what I would call wave 1.5. It's actually a Toys R Us exclusive version of these figures. They gave us the same Ripley and the same Hicks again, but instead of packing them together this time, they each come separate with their own Xenomorph. I didn't pick them up again because I already had them, but they also had Hudson in a Xenomorph and Vasquez with a Xenomorph. And so far, this is the only way to get those two Marines. I don't know if there's going to be a comic shop version that has Hudson and Vasquez maybe packaged together just like they did Ripley and Hicks originally, and then filling out the rest of the lineup or something. But I couldn't wait. I wanted to pick up these two very important Marines. And I'm going to review the two Xenomorphs kind of together here. We of course have this one that is exactly like one we already had, so nothing really special here. And then we have a closed-mouth bloody version, so a slight variant of the other one we had. Bloody version comes with Vasquez. The clean version comes with Hudson. Hudson, once again, uses the standard body. We do have the added painted detail of his armor decals there. Comes with his little pulse rifle. Once again, his short sleeves. You know the drill by now. You can pop that helmet off. He's got that game over face on. And we can pop his hair on, which is really goofy looking. He also comes with his own face hugger if you wanted it. Vasquez, same armor we got on Drake, a little differently painted. We have a green chest plate instead of the black, and it has her little slogan. I think it says the risk always lives or something like that in Spanish. But very similar detail to what we saw on Drake. She has the biker gloves on, big arm there coming off her smart gun, straps on the back. Instead of wearing a hat, she just has a bandana over her hair. We do get to remove that, and then we could pop Vasquez's hair on. I think the hair might be a little small on mine because both this hair and the other hair was very, very hard to get onto her head. It was very, very tight fit. But this is basically the exact same thing we have with the added gear on there, just without the added gear on there. And as a unique piece, she actually comes with a chest burster. It's flat on the bottom. Actually has a peg hole on the bottom if you want to use that. No real paint detail throughout it, which is a bit of a bummer, but it has that weird, odd penis banana look that the chest bursters do. And here we have all of our Marines in their casual mode, I guess you could say. And I like that you have this option with these Minimates. But as far as whether I recommend these or not, it's kind of odd because I'm glad I reviewed these as one big set because I feel like if you're in for one, you're in for all of them. Unless you want to get just like that Ripley and Hicks 2-pack maybe. But if you're going to get more than that, probably going to want all of them. And this is amazing because we are very close to having a full Marine set. While companies like NECA have a harder time putting these out due to both likeness rights and the ability to sell these lesser characters, Minimates are pretty good about maybe sticking one character you don't care about in a 2-pack with a character you do care about. So it ends up being really easy and painless to collect the whole wave. Trying to name off the top of my head, I think we're still missing Newt, Bishop, Pharaoh, and Frost. I don't remember if there's any more Marines I'm forgetting about, but we have a pretty good chunk of them. And I believe Diamond has already revealed a next line that contains some, but not all of those missing characters, along with some more Xenomorph variants, and some deluxe packs where you can get things like alien eggs, and power loaders, and queen aliens. And I am very, very excited for that. I love that Minimates are able to do these things where they can pack a bunch of accessories and a bunch of obscure characters together. And then it's not super expensive to give you a diorama or a vehicle with it because they're small and modular. And some of those pieces are easier to reuse than others, but you get these cool combinations. I know Minimates aren't for everyone, but I do give these figures a high recommend. I've had way too much fun messing with them, and I cannot wait to complete my Alien roster. From what I've heard, they do have plans of releasing everybody, so it's just a matter of time until when I can have them. Plus, they're doing Predator soon, so I'm going to be able to have Alien vs. Predator in Minimate form, which is much easier with these because they take up about as much shelf real estate as maybe 3 of the larger NECA figures. Though I still love the NECA figures for completely different reasons. Make sure you check me out on Instagram, username Outside the Box Reviews. Also follow me on Facebook, link below. And until next time, this has been our Outside the Box Reviews. Stay tuned for more to come.